Hello, good people of the internet. This is Brian Markowitz here, and you are watching, I think, part 4 of my Bobby Singer modeling little playlist thingy. And most of you are probably wondering, who the hell is Bobby Singer? Well, Bobby Singer is from a very popular TV show called Supernatural. He's one of my favorite characters. I love you, Bobby. And I was interested in trying to figure out how to make Bobby Singer in a video game like the Walking Dead video game that was available for like Xbox 360, the Telltale ones, not the first-person shooter thing. That was not that good. So I looked at the style of how the Walking Dead video games were, and very low poly, and as far as how the human form will work, it actually is. They very rarely do they have proportions that are weird. But here's a actually before I talk about more of that, that little glitch happens every once in a while to random 3D modelers as they are working, and they're wondering how and why it happens. The why part I can't help you with, but in order to fix that, a lot of the time I just reapply the texture that I have added to it. In this case, it was just Lambert 1, the texture that comes standard. The material that goes to every single model. So when it happens, it's just my being slightly stupid. So you just reapply the material. So with that out of the way, I will continue talking about this. What's going on here? So I decided to do this guy just because I wanted to have a little bit of fun and figure out how the Telltale people actually create some of the models. So in doing so, I was curious, and I tried to find some of their models, like Lee Everett, and I was actually successful. I found the model. I'll put a link in the description box below of where I found it, and I was really interested in how they did their polygon modeling. And I didn't see the process of exactly how, but trying to reverse engineer some of their geometry was very interesting. Basically, everything was just textured, and their polyface count was extremely low, of course. And most of the polygon count was inside the face because they wanted to have as much emotions as possible, so that makes sense. What I also found interesting is that what I'm doing here is actually what I found out later was unnecessary because with the way that they handle shirts, they just do texture, and I did not know that. I was originally, when I was making this model, I just had thought, oh, let me just model that part out. It's not a big deal. But in actuality, I could just save myself a lot of time and just figure that out in texturing. With the end product of this guy, I actually did end up doing that, but I live and learn, just little things. So going about this, I decided to do Bobby because I've always been doing a lot of characters that are big and muscly and the typical hero type people, and with I didn't really have anybody that had like a beard or any other aspects inside of their character that is more than anything than a big muscle bound dude. So I decided to go a little different, and pudgy Bobby that I love dearly. So I tried to figure out what were the most important aspects of Bobby, and it was basically his beer gut, his beard, and his box-type head. I was looking at actually Jim Beaver, the actor who plays Bobby Singer in Supernatural, and his head is a little more boxy than most other people. As I was trying to research his head, God, some of the conversations or that you have with yourself or anything, it makes as a 3D modeler, it makes it sound like a serial killer. Like oh, I was studying this guy, and especially the patterns of how he was walking, and either people think you're really, really strange, or they're like, oh, he's just an artist. Okay, never mind. Which is like 2 steps away from a serial killer sometimes. moving on. So I don't have a body in my basement. I swear, not at all. Yeah. As far as polygon modeling go, he's very simple character. But trying to condense everything down, and I'm what am I doing right now? Oh yeah, I'm about to tackle the hand, and I actually have a bone to pick with a certain YouTube channel. There's I was following the exact tutorial from the Autodesk series, and inside that series, they are talking about how to create a video game character from scratch, going from design, and every other aspect of the video I adore. I use a lot of their techniques as far as making the I'm okay, the basic body shape, as far as starting out with a cylinder instead of a square like most other people are taught. But when I was following this tutorial series, I found that, and you're going to see that their creation of the thumb and some of the polygon series, I couldn't get over it, because there's n-gons not all over the place. I'm not gonna like rag on too much, and you could barely get any articulation inside the hand if you wanted to do any animation done. So at first I was thinking, oh, maybe it's just because if they were doing a quick model, but as I was looking at more, I'm like, no, this is how they wanted it to go. But as somebody doing a hand for the first time, that'd be fine. But the guy talking, he knew what he was doing, so I was just curious of why they were going with that particular process. Doing the 3 extrusions out and everything. Every time I'm pausing, it's because I'm looking at the video and I'm following it exactly to a T. Just a selection of that. And this part is correct with how they do the thumb. Is how the thumb's actually not exactly to the same height as the human thumb, but it's actually slightly bent and curved. So, and I was glad they pointed that part out. My smooth preview, making sure everything's hunky-dory, And yeah, this part I was confused about, of why they did this. Well, not exactly why, but more of a simpler way of doing it. So this is just me trying to figure out exactly how they were going about it, and I followed it exactly how it was. And yeah, every time I'm pausing, if there's a long pause, it's me just tilting my head and being very confused about it. But there we go. So there's that. And whenever I look at a tutorial series, I figure, all right, they're gonna probably go fix up their n-gons. But nah, with that guy, with this dude, not really. So, as a first-time model person, yeah, follow the tutorial series. But with the hands, it would deal more with construction. That's not English. There was a tutorial series, I think it's the Undead Gunslinger tutorial series, where the guy, he does a weird approach, but I prefer actually his way of modeling more than anything, dealing with the hand. So, but he also does fingernails, and fingernails, well, as for game modeling, I feels unnecessary when you could just handle that in texturing. But as far as everything else, I would suggest you follow the Undead Gunslinger model series. But his approach with the head, I don't exactly agree with per se. there's a lot of disagreeing in my life as far as modeling goes, but here was just a topic of conversation I always like to have. There is no wrong way to model. There is just the most efficient way for you to model according to your thought process and your particular workflow. And always get this, not question, but more of just a general. No, yeah, actually, I'm going to say, yeah, general question. What is the best modeling program? I say, does not matter. And people look at me with a confused face, and I say, listen, it does not matter what modeling program you use. It matters of just what you want to do and how you use the tool. The process of 3D modeling, it will transcend to mostly every 3D modeling tool, such as knowing polygon faces, knowing how to what edge flow, how it should work, and those will transcend into most 3D modeling programs. The process of getting into it is like what you want to do is different throughout every one of them. Like the example with actually like 3ds Max and Maya. I prefer Maya, but their 3ds Max I see has some superior aspects, but I like the actual selection basis inside of Maya rather than inside 3ds Max. Dragging in the edit deformer thing, whatever, and working from there. But as far as using V-Ray and also when you're working with a bigger group, I feel that no, actually that doesn't matter really. Oh, by the way, this is basically where the ending of the tutorial from Autodesk is, and I think this is not even close to the way done, and there is a couple of n-gons inside of there as well, and a couple of triangles. And triangles, when you're doing video game modeling, you don't want to have too many, but it's okay to have some. So that's me trying to figure out how many n-gons are inside there, and I'm like, yeah, this is not done. So this is me putting in my edge loops, and I'm starting from the center of the palm, and the idea is so that I could go from center palm through the pinky, and then with the middle finger and the ring finger set up those edge loops as well. Simple concept, really, but where most people mess up and where I'm having a puzzle time, really, like where I feel like I'm Cypher from the Matrix or something, is with the palm of this hand. So you're going to see me fiddle around with this for a while. Going back to knowing which programs to use and everything, my suggestion is always do research. Instead of just picking one out of random, just know which ones do which one, know what programs would do, and what would be best for your workflow. Really, it's as simple as that. So when you are, and what would be best for your company or for yourself. If you're trying to stay on budget and you don't want to, and you're not a student in a college yet and you're just doing this in high school, I suggest Blender, really. Blender, I find, is a very impressive program if you were just starting out. I do not like its UI. I feel the UI is it's a learning curve as far in my personal aspect. Everything else about Blender I find very interesting, and if I was just first starting out, I would suggest Blender to anybody. But as far as other workflows go, I would also suggest Modo 701. Modo 701, I find it has some of the best selection property. Overall, everything that I want inside of Maya is inside of Modo 701, except for its actual UI and its learning curve. The company that makes 701 also does, I believe, Nuke, and that compositing program I feel is the cutting edge as far as what needs to be inside of a 3D pipeline. So, working in tandem with the Moto 701 as well as Nuke, I feel is the best process. But for my personal expertise, I still need to get used to Moto 701. It's just another language really to learn when you're first getting used to it. But when once you break that barrier of trying to figure out another program, you kind of feel cool for a little bit. You feel like, yeah, I can do anything. Yeah, and pray behind you and everything. No praying. All right, it's cool. So what I'm doing right now is just rounding out the finger, and the reason why I added those extra edge loops inside of there is actually the same reason why I add extra edge loops inside of the elbow area of the model and in the crevice of the knees. Rigging purposes, so that when the person bends their fingers and joints, the geometry won't act as wonky. I like that word, wonky, and it will put less strain on the geometry inside of there, and also it will give a clear indications of where the knuckles will be, as far as the putting in the joint system and everything. With this particular model, I'm not going to put in a joint system because I just want it as just a little pet project, and I don't really see this guy going any farther. Even texturing wise, I decided against it because I'm not that good. I don't consider myself a texture artist. I slap on random textures and see how it works. But what I always am aware of is how I'm going to be UV mapping the guy. And when you're doing a normal character model, where you're going to be cutting your seams and how you want to 3D model a guy, it's going to be the same. As far as the fingers and how the thumbs are going to be, just I separate the fingers out in the UVs. I cut it at the actual knuckle where the hand meets the actual fingers for each one, and then where the viewer does not see the most of the finger, I have that seam going through. And for the hands, I cut it at the inseam inside of the hand, and then I have that running throughout. Most hands are going to be the same as far as with usual bipedal type of character. Yeah, as I think about it more, this character is very generic. But Bobby is basically the generic bus driver. Not as far as look-wise, he looks like a truck driver, you know. But personality-wise and everything, he is the father that we all should have. That's Pandora. Me listening to Pandora and having some fun. I feel like when I'm modeling, I get the more Michael Jackson type of feel, and I always have some fun. I dance inside my seat, so if you were to catch me at work, most of the time I'm going to be doing a little dancey as I'm working. So if you see my headphones on and you see my head bouncing around, most of the time it's to Michael Jackson. Other times it's to random songs that I pick up. So yeah, this is me just finishing up the hand, and I feel like I'm going to talk in the next part. You know, there's only one more part after this, and yeah, you know, this hand's coming out okay. This is actually one of my favorite hands that I've done, It's looking a little weird at this point, but that's the whole point of finessing and using the soft selection tool. God, I love that tool. And yeah,